Discover the incredible heartwarming gift from a poor girl that changed a billionaire's life for. Lily looked around the cozy diner, the air thick with the mouth-watering scent of grilled burgers sizzling on the griddle. It was her second home, where the clinking of dishes and laughter bounced off the walls, a soundtrack to the everyday hustle of small-town life. With paint-splattered jeans and a messy bun atop her head, she was as vibrant as the artwork she cherished. Yet, beneath that lively surface lay a burden she wore like a second skin. Her single mother was struggling to keep the diner afloat, and the bills weren't kind. "Lily, we need more ketchup on table 3. Her mother called out, cutting through her daydream of bright canvases and art shows. With a quick nod, she darted to grab the bottle, her heart racing with dreams of canvases, colors, and perhaps a future far beyond this tiny diner. While customers filled the booths, she often turned to doodling on napkins during the lulls in service. Abstract florals and swirling sunsets splashed across the white paper, each stroke a bold declaration of the artist she wished to be. Yet, as she folded the napkin for another table, self-doubt crept in. "Who's gonna take me seriously?" she whispered under her breath, as a tight knot formed in her chest. Just then, the bell above the door jingled, and in walked Jack, a billionaire with an expensive suit that seemed too formal for such a rustic place. He'd come home, seeking solace from a world where every handshake felt like a business deal. He wandered to the corner booth, drawn to the warmth of the diner's charm and the smell of comfort food. Lily paused, noticing the way he studied the menu, brows furrowed. In that moment, she felt something shift. Could it be connection? Jack's gaze flicked to her as she delivered coffee, his eyes widening at the messy napkin art strewn on the counter. "This is incredible," he exclaimed, pointing to a bright blooming flower. Her heart fluttered. Thanks. Just some doodles," she replied, cheeks flushing with pride and embarrassment. "I see real talent here," he said, and without thinking, he casually threw out the words, "I can help you get into art school." The silence that followed was deafening. Lily's heart sank. "No, thanks. I don't need handouts," she shot back, pride swelling in her chest. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." The tension hung thick as Jack sat back, surprise etched across his features. It wasn't just pride, it was something deeper, a need to forge her own way, to wrestle fears screaming that she didn't deserve help from someone like him. Days blurred together until an unexpected storm battered the town, unleashing rain that drowned streets and dreams. Lily watched helplessly as the diner flooded, her safe haven slipping under murky water. But amidst the wreckage, something remarkable blossomed. Jack, with his resources, found himself amidst the rubble, learning from Lily what it meant to unite, to hope, and truly see the community around him. As they joined hands with neighbors, lifting and rebuilding, an unexpected shift happened. Jack's heart, once guarded by wealth, began to soften against the grit of resilience. Would they find common ground between stark lives, the struggles over one another's expectations, or be left with torn spirits? The thunder crashed outside as they faced their rising emotions, poised on the edge of discovery. The world outside echoed chaos, but within, sparks of connection flickered, leaving readers yearning to see what emerged from the uncertain storm. Lily's heart raced as she waded through the muddy waters of the diner, her feet squishing against the soaked carpet. The storm had left its mark not just on the building but on her spirit, too. The community was gathering, lending hands to help salvage what they could. Jack was there, his designer suit now dripping and caked with mud, but he looked different, more human, more present. "Lily," he called, struggling to hang on to a waterlogged table. "Can you help me with this?" She rushed over, grounding herself in the moment. As their hands grasped the damp wood together, a jolt of electricity passed between them. He was no longer just a wealthy figure sitting in a corner booth, he was her partner in this mess. "We need to get this sorted or the diner will be done for," she said, a bite of determination in her voice. Together, they pulled the table free from its restraints, each movement building a rhythm of hope. Jack wasn't just moving furniture, he was stepping into her world, embracing the reality she faced daily. With every tired smile exchanged, every half-laugh that emerged despite the chaos, they chipped away at one another's walls. As the storm subsided, the weight of their harsh realities hung heavily between them. Jack turned to Lily, his eyes searching hers. "How do you get through something like this?" His voice was raw, vulnerable. Lily paused, surprised by the sincerity in his question. "It's the people," she shrugged, attempting to mask her own panic. "We help each other, that's what community means." Her heart twisted thinking about the diner's uncertain future. Jack nodded, processing her words. "And what happens when the community is gone?" At that moment, the weight of his privilege loomed like a shadow, heavy against the backdrop of her everyday life. "It won't be gone. We're all in this together," she insisted, anger simmering just below the surface. "You might not understand what it's like to lose everything, but we fight and we rebuild. That's what we do." His gaze dropped. For a heartbeat, she felt a pang of remorse for laying it out so bluntly. But truth was something Jack needed, just as she needed to believe that he saw her for who she truly was, not just a waitress with a dream. I want to help more than just today," he stammered, his tone shifting. "What about that art school? Let me show you something." "What do you mean?" She furrowed her brow, caught off guard by his urgency. Jack looked around at the chaos, people beginning to rally back into focus and working side by side. "I think we can turn this around. If your heart is as big as your talent, this diner can become a community art hub. Imagine a place where kids can explore art, where you can teach. It's bold, but you want to make a difference, right?" The idea sprouted like a wildflower in her mind, colorful, unexpected. It took her breath away. "You mean, turn the diner into a space for creativity?" "Exactly. You don't just have to settle for being behind the counter," he said, a newfound determination in his voice. "Your art deserves a bigger stage." But before she could answer, the sun cast a bright light that broke through the dark clouds. The air felt warmer, hope swelling in her chest. "But what would you get from this?" she asked skeptically. Jack smirked, shaking his head. "Something I've been missing, a purpose. Let us be partners in this." Her heart fluttered and tightened all at once. She wanted to believe him, to leap into this unknown venture, but self-doubt shortly followed. What if he was just offering a temporary fix to a deeper issue? Could they really build something together from the wreckage left behind? Lily hesitated, gazing deeply into Jack's earnest eyes. And as the sunlight broke over the diner, illuminating the rubble, she wondered if this was just the spark they needed or merely a fleeting illusion, already beginning to fade. Lily took a deep breath, allowing the warm sunlight to lap over her like a gentle wave, trying to drown out the nagging voice inside her head. The muddy chaos around them faded slightly, overshadowed by the idea of something so audacious, a place where dreams could breathe and colors could collide. But doubt lingered like a stubborn storm cloud. "What if it doesn't work?" she finally asked, her voice a whisper drowned out by the rallying noise of the community around them. "What if I can't bring people in? What if this whole idea flops?" Jack stepped closer, his eyes locked onto hers. "What if it does work? Think of the possibilities." His excitement was palpable. "You could inspire kids, give them hope. You could paint a new future for them." The words danced in her mind, but the familiar grip of reality squeezed her heart. "I've spent so much time just trying to get by, Jack. I don't know if I'm ready to take this on." "You already are," he insisted, an encouraging intensity lighting his gaze. "You've got everything that matters: passion, creativity, and an understanding of what people need. This diner can be so much more than just a place to eat. It can be a sanctuary. A flicker of hope sparked within her, competing with her fears. Was he right? Could this make a difference that rippled through her own insecurities? Jack was offering her a vision, one she had only dared to dream about. And what about you? What happens when the thrill of this wears off? What if I can't? Before she could finish, he took her hands, muddy and worn, and grinned like the sun busting through clouds. Lily, helping people, that's forever thrilling. It's about making a mark, and you can do that through your art. I want to be part of that with you. His sincerity met her eyes with warmth. As guilt tinged her thoughts, she felt the weight shift. Maybe she was meant to be more than just a waitress who daydreamed about colorful canvases. Maybe she was meant to ignite those dreams. Okay, she said slowly, the word felt foreign yet powerful. Let us do it. Let South turn this place into a hub for creativity. A cheer erupted in her heart, almost drowning out the chorus of disaster around them. Jack's smile widened, bringing forth a glimmering energy that pushed away her doubt. Now we need to rally the community. We'll need volunteers, donations, ideas like a fundraiser. She interrupted, her pulse quickening. I can ask the regulars for help. Exactly. We start small, building momentum. Once they see what this place can become. He met her gaze with unwavering confidence, they won't be able to resist. Suddenly, the horizon felt more expansive, like a sheet of blank canvas waiting to be filled. The possibilities unfurled before her, vibrant with potential. But lurking behind it all was fear, the nagging reminder of all that could go wrong. Okay, let us meet back here tomorrow. I'll talk to everyone, he said, squeezing her hand briefly before releasing it. We can set a plan. Lily nodded, adrenaline coursing through her veins. As Jack walked away, she felt a knot of excitement tighten in her chest. It was a dream, but tantalizingly close. However, as she stood alone amid the muddied chaos, doubt crept back. What if she couldn't rise to the challenge? What if this was just another fleeting spark, destined to fade away? She looked at the wreckage of the diner, reflections of her thoughts swirling through the debris and spilled cups of cold coffee. Somewhere, a sense of doubt battled with a flicker of excitement. Could she really create a new future from the ruins? Just then, a pair of children approached, eyes wide with curiosity, asking, "Are you really going to make this place an art hub?" Their question hung in the air, stark against her swirling fears. Yeah, she replied, voice steady as she ventured a smile. I think I am. But as she watched their eager faces, she couldn't help but wonder, was she truly ready to face the storm of uncertainty that lay ahead, where her dreams either flourished or shattered? As the sun began to set, casting warm hues across the rubble, Lily felt the weight of her next steps. This was just the beginning, but it could lead to something beautiful, or something heart-wrenching. With a single thought, she realized she would have to confront her fears head-on in the coming days. The question lingered, more haunting than ever: could she truly breathe life back into the community she loved, or would she watch the light fade for good? The next day dawned with a brightness that made the rubble of the diner glint like hidden treasure. Lily stood outside, blinking against the sun, heart racing. Today was the day she would take the first step. She could feel the weight of an entire community resting on her shoulders, and for once, the thought didn't terrify her. Instead, it filled her with purpose. As the morning wore on, she brewed a pot of coffee, inviting the familiar aroma to swirl through the air. It was a ritual she had performed countless times, yet today felt different. Each cup poured was a reminder of the connection she shared with her customers, some of whom had become more like friends. Would they believe in her vision? The bell above the door jingled, and the first regular walked in. Marge, an elderly woman with a twinkle in her eye that made her seem younger than her years. Morning, dear. Smells good in here. Good morning, Marge. Lily replied, a smile lighting up her face. How's everything? Better now that I'm here. Did you hear about that town meeting this evening? Some folks are getting together to talk about the future of this community. Lily felt a jolt of inspiration. Actually, I wanted to invite everyone to a fundraiser I'm planning for the diner, turn it into something more. An art hub. Marge's brow furrowed, yet her mouth quirked into an encouraging grin. Oh, that sounds lovely. You know I'm always up for supporting the arts. How can I help? Maybe just spread the word. Lily suggested, a sense of hope washing over her. I need everyone's ideas and support. With a nod, Marge clapped her hands together. You leave it to me. I'll have everyone talking about it by lunchtime. As the sun climbed higher, Lily busied herself preparing for the day ahead, her mind racing with possibilities. Could she really bring this vision to life? The steady stream of customers gave her the motivation she so desperately needed, and with every conversation, she felt her confidence grow. That afternoon, Jack returned, enthusiasm painted across his face. Have you seen the buzz outside? People are excited. I told a few friends, and they can't wait to help. Really? Lily's heart soared. What did you tell them? They can bring whatever they want. He exclaimed. Art supplies, ideas, the whole shebang. We can have local artists show their work. It will be a feast for the eyes. Lily felt the world shift around her. The weight of her fears felt lighter, almost like it was floating away. This could really work, Jack, she breathed, her eyes brightening with fresh ambition. However, as doubts began to creep back, she hesitated. But what if we don't get enough support? What if it all falls flat? Jack stepped closer, tilting her chin up gently. Lily, those fears have kept you grounded for too long. Let us fight them together. Remember, every great dream starts with a little uncertainty. His words resonated deep within her, and as she watched the crowd grow outside, a belief blossomed. Maybe, just maybe, she was ready to bravely face this challenge. Later that evening, Lily stood in front of the diner, a small group gathered. They were chatting and drinking coffee, their laughter mixing with the sound of clinking mugs. Hope skittered in the air around them like fireflies. All right, everyone. Lily shouted, a tremor of excitement in her voice. I'm so thrilled to see all of you here. I think we're onto something amazing. Their cheers fueled her spirit, a wave of optimism washing over the crowd. She noticed the eager faces of kids who'd come just to see what this was all about. Their eyes sparkled with anticipation. But the voice of doubt still lingered. What if it all fell apart? What if the community turned away? Just then, she caught a glimpse of Marge in the crowd, proudly steering people her way. As the energy crescendoed around her, Lily inhaled deeply, feeling the magic of a moment teetering on the edge of reality. And just as she was about to dive headfirst into her speech, the lights flickered. Everyone paused, glancing around in confusion. In that hush, an unsettling thought crossed Lily's mind. What if this was about to slip through her fingers? Stay tuned, a voice announced, just as electrifying and uncertain as the ambience surrounding them. There is something special about to happen, and in that fleeting moment of silence, the future of her dreams hung in the balance, ready to ignite or snuff out in the blink of an eye. Would this be the spark that transformed everything? Or would it all come crashing down? Lily stood frozen, a knot tightening in her stomach as the lights flickered ominously. Her heart raced, not just from the thrill of anticipation but from a deeper, gnawing fear. A hushed murmur spread through the crowd, and she could feel the energy shift, a collective uncertainty washing over them. Uncertainty about her vision, about whether it would truly unite them or fall flat. Just as she was about to take a step forward and quell the chaos, a shadow passed by the window, tall and imposing. When she turned, her eyes met the sharp, piercing gaze of a man she had seen in town before, but never too closely. He was dressed impeccably, the kind of man who seemed out of place in the small diner. His name, she remembered, was Mr. Williams, a local billionaire known for his philanthropic work. He had a reputation for being a tough nut to crack, but he was also a man with a heart for communities like hers. "Is something the matter?" he inquired, his voice cutting through the murmurs. The crowd quieted, the buzz of excitement transformed into an eerie silence. Lily hesitated. Did she really want to expose her dreams in front of such a formidable presence? But his gaze held no judgment, only curiosity. Gathering her courage, she smiled and took a deep breath, the weight of the moment almost palpable. "We're trying to create something beautiful, Mr. Williams," she said, feeling the eyes of her friends and neighbors on her. "I want this diner to flourish, not just as a place to eat, but as a space for local artists to thrive and for this community to come together. We want to start a hub of art and culture that everyone can be proud of." Her words hung in the air, feeling both liberating and daunting. She watched his face closely as he absorbed her vision, his brow furrowing slightly, perhaps contemplating the potential hidden in her hopes. The silence felt like an eternity, stretching between them. Finally, he nodded slowly, his expression softening. "And how can I help?" he asked, the intensity of his presence easing just a touch. The crowd erupted into whispers: surprise, excitement, disbelief swirled around them like sparks. Lily's heart soared once more, but this time it was mingled with disbelief. Could this really be happening? Was this mysterious, powerful man about to become her ally? Well, she stammered, the questions racing through her mind. I need support, funding, supplies. Anything to get this off the ground. I want everyone's ideas." "Great," he said, enthusiasm breaking through his composed exterior. "I know a lot of people who would love to contribute. Let's set up a meeting, and I'll bring some of my friends to help out. There's nothing like the passion of a community to inspire change." Lily couldn't believe what she was hearing. A meeting? Support? The room erupted into conversation, excitement replacing earlier doubts, and she could hardly contain her glee. Hope bloomed, its sweet scent overshadowing the earlier tension. As the crowd began to rally around her, discussing ideas and possible artists, Lily felt the warmth of their belief enveloping her. It was as if the flicker of light had ignited a fire, each person contributing to an ever-growing blaze of possibility. Just then, Jack grabbed her arm and whispered urgently, "Do you see what's happening? This could change everything." "I know," she replied, her voice a mix of exhilaration and disbelief. "But what if it doesn't? What if we still fail?" He squeezed her hand reassuringly. "Lily, that's a risk we have to take. Sometimes you have to leap into the unknown to make your dreams a reality." And with that, she looked back at Mr. Williams, who was deep in conversation with Marge, and thought of the countless lives that could intertwine in this endeavor. The weight of hope pressed down on her, buoying her spirit. "Stay tuned," whispered the lingering voice of that earlier uncertainty, but it no longer felt menacing. Instead, it was a promise of what was to come. As the diner's light steadied, so did her resolve. With a new spark of determination, she wondered what if this was just the beginning. Would every heart that joined hers keep the flame alive, or would doubt creep back as they ventured further down this uncertain path? Only time would tell, but she was ready to find out. Lily could hardly contain her excitement as the crowd buzzed with newfound energy. Ideas flew around like confetti, and the atmosphere felt electric. She could see Jack animatedly discussing plans with a few local artists, their expressions lit with anticipation. It was as if the diner had transformed into a vibrant tapestry of dreams, woven together by the threads of possibility. "Look at them," she said, delight twisting her heart. "They're all so passionate." Jack nodded, his eyes shining. "And it's because of you, Lily. You lit the spark. Just look at Mr. Williams, he's really interested." Her gaze drifted back to the tall figure, now leaning in earnestly, engaging friends old and new. The sight of him reminded her how one man's belief could ripple into the lives of many. But a small part of her heart tightened again. What if this didn't turn into reality? "Do you think he really means it?" That he'll help us? She murmured, a shadow of doubt sneaking back in. Jack gave her a firm look. He's a man of business. If he's here, it's because he sees potential, and he wouldn't waste his time unless he felt something. The crowd debated colors for murals and types of performances. It was a warm blend of laughter and creativity, and Lily couldn't help but smile. Yet, as the noise crescendoed, another thought nagged at her. She needed to think beyond the present, beyond just the diner. What if things didn't pan out? Mr. Williams suddenly turned and caught her gaze, the seriousness of his demeanor shifting back into that warm, inviting smile. Lily. He called, making his way toward her. I'd like to talk to you about funding. Why don't we step aside for a moment? Her heart pounded. This was it. What she dreamed of, and feared all at once. She followed him to a quieter corner of the diner, where the chatter became a muffled backdrop. Your vision is important, he said, his tone earnest. But it's more than that, it's how you want the community to feel. It's transformative. Transformative, Lily echoed, her mind racing with possibilities. I want everyone to feel included, to see that we can come together as a family, and create something beautiful. I appreciate that passion. He leaned closer. But I need to know what happens if this fails. How will you and those who believe in this feel then? Her breath caught. I don't know, she admitted, the honesty heavy on her shoulders. What lay beneath her optimism but fear of failure? It frightens me. But we have to try, right? He nodded, his expression set. Indeed. Remember, every venture brings risks. If you're leading this charge, you'll face challenges. How will you support your people, your friends, when those challenges come? His words pressed down on her like an anchor, causing the uncertainty to surface. She thought of everyone who looked to her for guidance, the hopes riding on her shoulders. In that moment, the gravity of her dreams weighed more than she'd ever felt. What was she truly asking them to invest in? Mr. Williams watched her closely, as if sensing her internal struggle. The heart of a community project is built on trust and resilience. You need to ensure they have that trust in you, and in their own power. Something shifted within Lily. What if this was also about trust in herself? The fears were there, but woven in was a possibility of growth, not just for the diner, but for every individual in her community. They were embarking on this journey together. She took a deep breath, squaring her shoulders. I want to create a space where they can shine, where everyone feels valuable. Even if it means risking failure. A sly smile crept across his face. Then let us gather those hearts and begin. We're about to set something wonderful in motion together. Lily's heart raced once more, but this time not just with doubt. It was an exhilarating sort of fear, intertwined with hope. She felt the weight lifting, replaced by the lightness of possibility. Could they really do this? Before she could respond, a loud crash echoed from the kitchen, abruptly interrupting their conversation. In an instant, the diner's vibrant energy shifted into chaos, everyone's eyes widening in alarm. Let us see what that was, Mr. Williams said, his demeanor shifting into action mode. Lily nodded, her instinct to help immediately kicking in. Together, she thought, and a spark ignited in her chest. As they rushed toward the kitchen, the question remained, what other challenges awaited them on this journey? Would they face each hurdle with the same fire they'd just ignited? The next moments could change everything. The kitchen door swung open abruptly. The clatter of pots and pans echoed off the walls, creating a symphony of chaos. The once vibrant crowd fell silent, and all eyes turned toward the scene unfolding before them. Lily peered past the kitchen's threshold and gasped. A towering stack of plates had toppled over, creating a mess of shattered porcelain and food remnants scattered across the floor. Chef Marco stood with his hands on his hips, his face a mix of frustration and disbelief. What happened? She called out, stepping into the fray, her heart racing. Someone bumped the table. Marco exclaimed, throwing his hands in the air. Now we're out of dinner plates for the night. Lily moved closer, instinctively reaching to help him collect the broken pieces. Her mind raced with possibilities. Would this mess push the event back? Would it dampen the enthusiasm that had just ignited? Just breathe, Marco, she said, stooping down to meet his eyes. We can clean this up together. As she swept up the shards, the customers began to chatter among themselves, the hum of conversation gradually returning. Jack joined her, kneeling beside her, picking up remnants and offering quiet reassurances with each clink of broken dishes. Lily, when you said together, you really meant it, he said, laughter lacing his words. She smiled, grateful for his presence. We're a team, right? Mr. Williams stood back, observing the scene unfold. A flicker of admiration entered his eyes as he noticed the way Lily and Jack lifted the spirits of those around them despite the chaos. The kitchen might look like a battlefield, but in that moment, they were creating a sense of unity. Within minutes, a few other diners stepped forward. One by one, they offered to help, picking up pieces and clearing the area. It was an unexpected gesture, transforming a moment of disruption into a sense of shared purpose. Look at that, Marco said, his voice softer now. They care. They really do. Yes. Lily exclaimed, feeling a swell of hope. This is what we wanted. A community coming together. This is just the beginning, Jack added, his enthusiasm buoying the room. Imagine what we can accomplish with that energy. The plates were slowly replaced, makeshift connections formed, and laughter began to flutter through the air once more. Lily could see the sparkles of resilience in each person's eyes. They weren't just overcoming a moment of chaos, they were solidifying their bond. With a deep breath, she turned to Mr. Williams, who was still observing everything. This is what I want. A space where every person feels they belong and can contribute. He nodded, clearly moved by the display before him. You've captured something special here, Lily. It's a rare quality not often found. As the kitchen was set to rights, Mr. Williams stepped forward, arms crossed. How do you plan to keep this momentum? There will be more hurdles ahead. Will they stay together when the going gets tough? Lily pondered this, her heart pounding again. The support they were building tonight felt fragile but powerful. This will be a place where every voice is heard, Mr. Williams. We can share the weight of failures together as much as the triumphs. I owe it to them. His expression shifted, an admiring glimmer alighting his eyes. Then I believe in you, Lily. Tell me what it takes to help turn this vision into reality. Her heart swelled with determination. Amid the calm after the chaos, she felt a clarity settling within her. This was their moment, not just hers, not just a dream, but a living testament to their potential together. Just then, as if on cue, someone shouted from the back. Hey! We still need to figure out what colors to paint the murals. A ripple of excitement surged through the crowd, pulling everyone back together. No one seemed to notice the earlier mess anymore. They were riding a wave of possibility. As they dove back into discussions, one lingering thought echoed in Lily's mind. What if this unity turned into a foundation strong enough to weather even the greatest storm? Would they truly rise together? No matter what challenges came their way. The unquenchable spirit in the room suggested they might just be ready for whatever was next. With that spark of uncertainty came the thrill of adventure. Lily felt ready, even if there were more trials ahead. But just as hope filled her, she overheard a nearby conversation, something about uncertainty ahead. The way the diner's heartbeat echoed with laughter and chatter felt fragile again. What other challenges lay hidden just around the corner, waiting to test them all? The energy in the room shifted like a tide, the laughter and engagement carrying a weight. Lily caught snippets of conversations swirling around her, each voice contributing to a mix of excitement and fervor. They were discussing colors for murals, ideas for community events, and how they could enhance this vibrant space they were creating together. But beneath the surface, the undercurrent of uncertainty lingered like an unwelcome shadow. As she scanned the room, she spotted Mr. Williams speaking with a few diners, his brow furrowed slightly, as if grappling with concerns. What worries could he have after such a triumphant moment? Lily's heart raced as she approached him, feeling a new sense of responsibility. "Mr. Williams, is everything all right?" He glanced at her, his gaze steady yet contemplative. "Lily, I admire your enthusiasm and the way the community has rallied around you tonight. But, as you know, enthusiasm can only go so far. There are realities to face. What if the excitement fizzles out?" Her stomach nodded. They had come so far in such a short time, and the last thing she wanted was to lose that spark. "I understand, but we have something real here. This isn't just a passing phase. These connections, they mean something. I can feel it. I hope you're right." He hesitated, looking at the gathering crowd, many deep in conversation or laughing amongst themselves. There was still a question in his eyes. But reality can hit hard. Moments like these, they can also be fleeting. You need to be prepared for that. Lily thought about his words, pushing aside the nagging worry. She didn't want to dwell on shadows when there was light to be embraced. But what if we harness these connections? We can create a structure, set up regular events, involve everyone here in meaningful ways. We can grow and adapt. An approving nod from Mr. Williams did little to ease her tension. The look on his face suggested he still had doubts, but he chose not to voice them. Instead, he simply said, "Very well. Just keep that in mind as you move forward." Taking a deep breath, she turned back to the group, seeking ways to elevate the atmosphere. Jack caught her gaze and smiled, as if sensing her lingering fear. "You're doing great, Lily. Just keep being yourself." Yet, she couldn't shake the creeping feeling of something lurking behind the curtain of their success. She looked back at the crowd, joy evident in their faces, but a thought crept in: how long could they sustain this energy? As the discussions about mural designs grew more passionate, a woman suddenly stood up, her voice cutting through the chatter. "What about community challenges? How about monthly competitions? That could keep us united and motivated." Cheers erupted. Excitement bubbled as ideas bounced around, but moments of inspiration often held the seeds of pressure, and Lily felt it, too. Could they keep the flame alive? The balance needed between ambition and reality weighed heavily on her heart. While laughter encircled her, she cast a glance toward the door. The evening's warmth felt fragile, but as she turned back, her eyes landed on Marco, who stood next to the kitchen entrance, mask in hand, awaiting the next round of orders. His steady presence confirmed her hope. "If we're going to make this last, we need to set clear goals. Let us have a vision that carries us through storms," she called, trying to plant that seed of shared responsibility within the group. "How about we work on something tangible?" Heads nodded, voices melded into suggestions. Every suggestion bounced through the room like a ball of light. Yet, in the corners of her mind, a flicker of doubt remained. Could this truly become more than just a fleeting moment? As the night wore on, something shifted. They all leaned into the notion that this was just the start. The plans for competitions began to form, excitement igniting a fierce energy, but uncertainty still loomed ghost-like. They were so close to something magical, yet the shadow of tomorrow whispered troubling possibilities. But she couldn't let it go. With a resolute heart, she gathered everyone's attention again. "Let us kick off our first competition next month. We'll call it Uniting Hearts, and it'll showcase our talents." Applause erupted, and the future glimmered brightly for a moment. But as their cheers rang, she noticed Jack looking at her intently, a question in his eyes that echoed her fears. Would this competition ignite unity, or would it become a source of division? As she smiled at the crowd, a small seed of apprehension took root within her, a reminder that every dream cast a shadow. What awaited them just beyond the horizon? Would they be strong enough to hold on to their newfound bond when life's trials inevitably set in? The weeks raced by, and Lily found herself caught in a relentless whirlwind of activity. The excitement for the upcoming Uniting Hearts competition surged through the community, just as she'd hoped. There was an electric buzz around town, and people were eager to pitch in. But beneath that thrill, anxiety gnawed at her. The looming question wasn't if they could unite, but rather, what could tear them apart. As Lily organized meetings and rolled out plans, she picked up on subtle tensions within the group, moments of silence that felt heavy, or laughter that seemed forced. One evening, as she was sorting through sign-ups for the competition, she overheard two volunteers whispering in the corner. "Do you really think someone will care about our little project once the excitement wears off?" one said, her voice laced with skepticism. Lily's heart sank. How could she foster connections if doubt took root? She knew she had to act. Finding a way to solidify their bonds felt more critical than ever. When she finally stepped into the light of the meeting room, her determination burned through the murky shadows of uncertainty. "Everyone, can I have your attention?" she called, her voice cutting through the din of chatter. "I want us to talk about something crucial." The room quieted, and eyes turned towards her, some curious and others wary. Unity is not just about events or competitions. It's about building trust and understanding. We need to open up, share our stories and what we hope to gain from this community. A ripple of murmurs rose. Jack, seated in the front, nodded, his expression full of encouragement, but Lily could see doubt reflected in many faces. "Let us form smaller teams," she suggested, "where we can talk freely and help one another. This way we can connect better before the competition. It's not just about showcasing our talents, it's about showcasing us as a community. Together." A wave of whispers flowed through the room again, but she held firm, capturing their attention. "We can even pair volunteers from different backgrounds to spark conversations. I believe these connections will strengthen our bonds." Slowly, heads began to nod, and excitement bubbled back up. "Yes. Let us do that." Someone called out, and others joined in with their own enthusiasm. But amidst their glee, a knot tightened in Lily's stomach. Would this work? Could they dig deep enough in their conversations to really understand one another, or would old wounds and preconceived notions emerge like specters? As they broke into teams, laughter and chatter filled the air, each group exploring tales of hope, struggle, and dreams. Lily moved from one cluster to the next, her smile faltering when she came to pair Marco with a newcomer, a young man fresh to the community. Their interaction felt tense, like two worlds colliding. The walls around Marco seemed insurmountable, shrugging off the newcomer's inquiry with curt responses. But Lily refused to give any judgment just yet. She recognized that healing takes time. After the meeting, she was about to leave when Jack sidled up beside her, a grave expression carving his features. "You know, Lily, all this is great, but people have their limits, emotional ones. We can't force connections." For a moment, that seed of doubt she had tried to suppress began to sprout again. "What if I can't hold this all together?" she whispered, her voice barely above a tremor. "Just keep being you," he assured softly, wrapping an arm around her shoulder. "You'll find a way. You've already made a difference." As they stepped outside into the crisp evening, the stars began to twinkle. But that small spark within her waned with uncertainty. Were they on the right path, or was something crucial missing? Days turned into nights, and as the competition approached, tensions surged along with anticipation. Would the openness they sought lead to real connections, or would it merely expose gaping divides? When the day finally arrived, the entire community gathered, a colorful tapestry of diversity and aspirations. But as voices rose and uneasy laughter filled the air, Lily sensed a brewing storm beneath. Would they come together as one, or would this event crack open their differences wider than she could imagine? The moment of truth lay ahead, and she couldn't shake the weight of that uncertainty. What lay beneath those vibrant colors and bright faces? The sun rose over the diner, casting a warm glow that glinted off the vibrant decorations in anticipation of the Uniting Hearts competition. The air was thick with excitement and a trace of anxiety that Lily couldn't shake. Her dreams hung heavy on her shoulders, ready to blossom or collapse under pressure. As people began to gather, she felt her heart quicken. The diner was alive with laughter and chatter, families and friends filled the booths, children darted around with anticipation. Yet beneath the surface, she could feel a ripple of tension. Unsaid words and sideways glances flickered like shadows, but she pushed those thoughts aside, reminding herself of the promise they were making to each other. "Remember to be yourself," Jack whispered, nudging her slightly as they set up the stage for performers. His smile was unwavering, but she could sense the same worry lurking in his own heart. They all wanted this to work, but what if their fragile unity cracked under the weight of expectation? As everything began to unfold, Lily stepped to the front, her heart pounding as she took in the crowd. "Welcome, everyone," she called, her voice shaking but determined. "Today is about all of us coming together, our dreams, our hopes, to create something beautiful." The crowd cheered, but when she looked closer, she could see faces filled with both hope and skepticism. The event kicked off with a local band playing upbeat tunes. As the music flowed, moments of joy bubbled forth. Children danced, neighbors laughed, and then came the submissions for their art showcase. Lily felt her heart swell seeing familiar faces stepping forward to share their talents. But guilt nudged at her. Who would stand back, feeling left out in this dream of togetherness? She took a deep breath and reminded herself that this moment belonged to everyone. But then, things began to shift. As the performances went on, tensions that had quietly simmered rose to the surface. Lily noticed Marco standing with crossed arms, looking decidedly unimpressed. Nearby, a group of younger artists were jubilantly discussing their pieces, and Marco's dismissive comments cut through the joyful atmosphere. "Art isn't just about having fun," he muttered loudly enough for them to hear, "it's about real talent." The smirk on his face sent ripples of discomfort through the crowd. The laughter faded, replaced by murmurs of unease. Lily's heart thudded heavily. Was this going to unravel? She refused to let it become a fight. Channeling her earlier resolve, she approached Marco, willing herself to bridge the divide. "Hey," she said softly, "I understand you have strong feelings about talent. Can you share what you see?" Her voice was steady, but inside, she felt her breath catch. "What I see is a bunch of kids playing at art," he snapped, his tone sharp. "If we are to represent ourselves, it should come from a place of real skill." Her heart sank. The last thing she wanted was to stoke any division, especially not on a day meant for unity. But isn't art about expression? It can be fun and still carry depth, Marco. For a moment, his eyes met hers, and she saw a flicker of something, a possibility, perhaps. "Maybe," he conceded, reluctantly. "But they've got to be held accountable to something." A voice piped up behind her. One of the younger artists, a girl with vibrant paint splatters on her face, spoke up. "I work hard on my art. I don't want to feel like I need to prove myself to anyone." The crowd murmured in agreement. Lily felt a surge of hope as people began to echo those sentiments, a collective voice challenging the negativity hanging in the air. "Let us remember why we're here," Lily called out, her heart racing. "Art comes from us all, every story, every emotion, and it deserves to be cherished. It's not about perfection, it's about connection. Isn't that our goal today?" Suddenly, Jack stepped forward, fire in his eyes. "And we are all valid. Each person expressing themselves is a step toward understanding and healing." The crowd erupted in applause, the tension in the room evaporating like morning fog. It was as if they blinked awake, realizing that they stood on a shared foundation of experience and dreams. The sound of the applause simmered down, leaving a feeling of resilience swirling among them. Marco shifted slightly, a hint of humility in his stance. "Well, maybe I could listen a little better," he admitted, his tone softened as he glanced at the artists around him. With each performance, laughter and cheers erupted, transforming the day into a true celebration of community. Lily watched as people mixed and connected, not just forging bonds through shared experiences, but also showing understanding and grace. As the competition wrapped up and the moments of joy pooled around them like a warm blanket, Lily felt a surge of gratitude. She led them through clashing perspectives and emerged with a deeper understanding of unity. They were still on the cusp of something important. They were growing, learning. In that moment, the weight of uncertainty lifted completely. Lily felt victorious, and as the crowd erupted in applause, she beamed at Jack. "We did it together," he reassured, his eyes sparkling with shared determination. They had not just unveiled art, they had uncovered something powerful, the foundation of trust. As the sun began to set, illuminating the diner with golden light, Lily cherished the mosaic of the community around her. Each person, each story tied together in a vibrant tapestry of connection. But as the night closed in, Lily couldn't help but feel that this was not the end. It was merely the beginning of something extraordinary. She knew challenges still lay ahead, but each one would bring them closer, forging their collective spirit into something unbreakable. And as laughter and voices filled the air, she realized one undeniable truth: together, they could tackle whatever storm awaited them, forging ahead into a future that shimmered with infinite possibility. Now, more than ever, she believed in their journey. This was just the first chapter, and the story was only just starting to unfold. If you loved this transformative journey, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to help us reach even more incredible hearts out there. And don't forget to comment and tell us what you felt about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. Let us keep building this amazing community together.